please allow me 2-3 minutes to,
Go ahead.
counter whatever everybody has said. One thing, thank you, Cleophas Bab and also Jack, for at least accepting the fact that temples were demolished and, structures of other religion built. And when you talk about abuse of history, saying that Inquisition was bad, the same man who brought Inquisition to Goa is celebrated. Today, everybody, when it comes to Hindu temples, we are, you cite constitution. Now, when government spending happens in old Goa, nobody talks about it. When Ministry of Culture and Tourism give a certain amount for rejuvenation of old Goa heritage, nobody talks about it. That is not religious. That is suddenly it becomes part of something else. But when somebody talks about rebuilding a Hindu temple, it suddenly becomes a communal issue, communal harmony and whatnot. Secondly, no, I'll just tell you, just Ayodhya has rattled political parties and all these so-called seculars, because nobody has talked about raising down a existing religious structure. If at all, what the CM has spoken is about rebuilding a temple where ruins of the temples exist. So I don't see a problem why this should be done. And again, I keep coming back to spending, which happens when, the St. Xavier's Expo happens.
The point is, there are 2 points now. Number one, are you making a very categorical statement here that when CM makes a statement and in his budget speech with a budgetary provision that there exists no intention of touching any existing religious structure? Point one. Point two, without identification of the structures, on what basis the budgetary allocation has been made?
See, first of all, today if CM directs the Department of Archaeology and say that, identify structures, the next part which will happen within next 2 months is we have identified the sites, but there is no budget provision. So budget provision always comes before, and this was a state. See, again, I mean, this is, sometimes we talk about, like Amit Bab keeps talking about secular harmony. I mean, they have been reduced to a two-party, two-member party in the assembly, and we are a party which is in the ruling. And we did not shy away from declaring, even before the polls, that temples will be rebuilt if we are re-elected to power. So this is what we went to people with. People have given their overwhelming mandate to the BJP. So why should people be rattled? That is my very simple question. And why should it be only that when Hindu revival is talked about,
so no intention of touching existing religious structures?
Let me be very categorical that what CM has talked about is whichever temples where the ruins are found, they will be rebuilt, and that is the priority right now. That is what the Department of Archaeology has been said.
After this categorical statement from the spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, what problem do you have? They are saying we are not touching the existing religious structures, but our intention is to only identify the ruins that already exist and rebuild there.
Your hypocrisy lies in the fact that what your existing heritage, which is under archaeology, you are not protecting that. And then you want to rebuild temples. Absolutely you should rebuild temples. As a Hindu, I am happy that my temples which are there, but where are those temples? Have you identified them? So you have you have entered into a political scene. You have entered into an area where 60 years Goa, which has been happily living, you are trying to destroy that political harmony, and I stand by that point. As a Hindu, I of course pray to God, and I'm not less Hindu than any of the BJP person who is in power or who is a volunteer of BJP or a karyakarta of BJP. Of course, I care for my temples, I pray in the same temples, but I never felt that I had been sidelined in some manner or the other for last 60 years. And today you see the political polarization that is happening between the religions, and it's unfortunate for Goa.
Jack, same question. If the government is taking a position today that there is no question of touching any existing religious structure, but we are only going to look at the ruins, identify them and try to revive them, then what's the argument?
Like I said, my main argument is that the government has no business to get into religion. Religion is a private matter. If someone privately wants to build a temple, fine. The government has more priorities which are more important. Now, Girija just made a number of accusations. One of the accusations is that we are Hindu phobic. Nothing of that sort. Personally, I feel Hinduism is the greatest religion going around. I have an issue with Hindutva and aggressive Hinduism, right? So, what is the thing he's saying? That his basic thing. You tomorrow there are a number of temples which are being maintained on the Archives and Archaeology Act. Yeah. So you allocate funds towards them, you develop them, you make them a tourism corridor. Great for us. You do it all over. He's talking about funds being allocated to Old Goa and all. There's nothing which I think the state government allocates towards Old Goa. It's a UNESCO World Protected Site because it is a part of our culture. As a pride of our culture, it has been given, that money has been given to it. It's not been given by the state government. Then he's talking about the Inquisition. I think there is a lot of corrections to be how you understand the Inquisition. Yes, the church demolished, the Portuguese demolished a lot of temples, they did that. But in all religions, that was a done thing. People converted from Hinduism to Buddhism. There was an aggressive reconversion from Buddhism to Hinduism. It was not done voluntarily. So in the 17th, 16th century, religion was an important force and people did this. It's no longer relevant today. So why are you bringing the past up?
Okay.
And just one more point. On
Yeah.
the Inquisition, I would like to make it clear that if you study the Inquisition, it was not the question of the temples being destroyed, which was the major thing of the Inquisition. During the Inquisition, people converted. And when they were doing practices which were against their conversion, then the Inquisition was carried out. It was a horrific thing, it was a wrong thing, but there's a fine distinction between temples being destroyed and the Inquisition, which from a technical point has to be studied.
Cleophas Bab, Giriraj said so many things. I'll straight away go to you and ask you, how do you respond to that?
If existing structures are not to be touched, they cannot be touched because law says you can't touch them. One. And even in the Ayodhya judgment, the Supreme Court has sang praises for the law which protects all religious sites as on 15 August 1947. But the point is, why should Hindu temples only be restored? There may be heritage monuments of other religions. There could be heritage good monuments, old ancient heritage churches, masjid, which deserves attention. Money could be set aside. See, if it's an issue of culture and heritage and tourism, then I would say it crosses all religions. It should not be religion specific because we are not a country which goes by religion. We tolerate all religions. We tolerate all religions does not mean that the state should fund any temples. But if a particular temple, a particular church has heritage value, then certainly it deserves attention and even state support. But the point is, today we find that a construction of memory of the historical past is used towards creating an electoral agenda. See, the point is, we may not talk about it, but finally reconstruction of an immediate historical past, that is used towards agenda. And we will find this is leading to polarization. See, the point is that we all want our heritage monuments, but please don't do it on religious lines. And because it is not that we have any laws any less, as I pointed out earlier also, there is an Ancient Monuments Act, Ancient Religious Sites Act. So use them. Don't use state power. Don't use electoral power because you have won elections to see that to further your agenda of polarization.
Just to make one point.
Yes.
Between 1470 and 1510, Goa was under the Adil Shah of Bijapur. We had a Muslim culture. There would have been a lot of Muslim monuments, whatever. If you are looking at the Portuguese, if the theory is that the state should interfere in religion and look at only Hindu temples, let us look at what the Adil Shah also had in place and identify both and see if they need to